It's Friday. It's Friday. It's Friday. It's Friday. That must mean Granny's has dance music to open with. Welcome to a brand new episode of Granny's Peach Tea. We're 22. Episode 22 of Granny's Peach Tea. With me, as always, is Jason. Jason, what is up? He's in a very celebratory mood today.
I am in a celebratory mood because today is was the last day of work for us us teachers, us New York City teachers. So we are on summer break, and any of our listeners, if you're teachers or teacher adjacent, we've been through a weird, hard year, and I hope you all enjoy your break. We all earned it.
Teachers, kudos to you. Everyone, Jason, all other teachers everywhere. You guys did a kick-ass job this year. It couldn't have been easy to what you had to do. So thank you. Thank you for taking care of the kids. I'm sure it was, man, it must have been tough, man. So
yeah, I'm sure it was. It was tough. I had my challenges. My colleagues had their challenges, but we were there for the kids, and I cannot tell you how many emails I've gotten since the year ended, the kids reaching out, and I hope everyone is experiencing that because that's what this year was about, supporting them. But also who I'm supporting in my atonement, and I told Eddie I was going to start the segment off, is I have gone again into my unhassle the Hoff mode. And I have been, that's right, dancing with action figures. That was Blade. He came in to shoot the place up, saw that we were here, and just wanted to jam with us. I have been watching, as I said last week, Baywatch Nights. I watched my second episode of Baywatch Nights. I cannot wait to tell you the plot of this, Ed.
Go for it.
The plot of this is that a rich woman hires the gang to watch her son, who's played by her very adult son, who's played by the brother from the Wonder Years. You know that the bully brother from the Wonder Years?
Yes.
And so he has been recruited onto a crack team of professional extreme rollerbladers to commit a heist. And the boss of the heist is Mr. Peterman, Elaine's boss from Seinfeld. And he, of course, has a line like, at the end of the mission, kill him.
Oh, boy.
Oh, it was wonderful.
Boy.
And so the episode ends, guys. The whole plot was they were going to rollerblade down the highway with, I guess, these bags of money they stole. And Mr. Peterman was going to pull up alongside of them in a van, and they were going to jump in the van. And the way that our gang, our intrepid hero, David Hasselhoff, foils that is he steals a motorcycle from a pedestrian by saying he's CIA and runs them down, pushing them off their rollerblades into the street. And then he gets up to the van and he jumps in the van and fisticuffs ensues. Michael Knight style, you know what I'm saying? So it was insane. And then the kid goes to jail, but has his sentence remanded as long as, and this is the caveat, he has to join the Marines.
Wow.
So his punishment was to join the Marines, and he's there with them in the bar saying, "Thank you guys for straightening me out. Semper Fi," and he walks off, and that is the end of the episode. Guys, we could do a podcast about this show. I'm just saying.
Oh my God. Wow. I wasn't ready for that. I'm going to tell you the truth because we did not discuss the details of this episode.
Oh no, I was saving it because I knew Peterman would get you because you're probably a bigger Seinfeld fan than I am, and that's
I love Seinfeld. Yeah. No, we're both huge Seinfeld fans. I'm just picturing. I mean, obviously, what I'm picturing in my mind, guaranteed, is very different from what actually happened on the episode. But, man, go ahead.
So, no. I just hope now I have spoken about how great Hoff was. Hopefully, this brings me one step closer to unhassling the Hoff.
Yeah, because we still haven't heard back from him yet, even though we're tweeting our shows out to him, and we're going to see what happens because we are still semi-hassling the Hoff a little bit. Depends on how you interpret that, but.
Yeah, but now I'm hassling him with my love, and that's just every relationship I've ever had.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for joining us wherever it is. If it's on a Facebook stream, if it's on YouTube, if you're listening to us on your on Instagram or wherever it's at, you're finding us on Twitter or the audio only versions on Spotify or iTunes, wherever you get your podcast from. Thank you. We always appreciate the support. Tony is not with us tonight as the Islanders and Lightning are playing in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Stanley Cup Finals. So, quick note is that Tony's a huge Islanders fan. So, as a Rangers fan, I cannot wish him luck, but I hope Tony is happy. I can word it like that. But that's where he's at. He's on the edge of his seat in his living room, I'm sure, or somewhere in Long Island, sweating and probably biting his fingernails right now. So good luck with that, Tony. We'll hope to have you back soon. And then Farachi's accusing us of stalking David Hasselhoff. I mean, we might. It depends on your point of view. I mean,
stalking, loving, it's all the same. And hey, look, if we get the Hoff on the show, imagine. I don't know what we talk about, but how wonderful if the Hoff came on the show just to get us to stop tweeting at him. Because if you come on the show, David Hasselhoff, and you never want us to tweet at you again, I will never tweet at you again, I promise. I'll never speak your name again, if that's Absolutely. What you so desire, sir.
I'm 100% in agreement with Jason on this. Hoff, if you see this, you want to listen, we can go over Nick Fury, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We can never mention that movie again. We can do a separate podcast if he wants on Baywatch. We'll go through that, or Knight Rider. I love Knight Rider.
Yeah, I would love a Knight Rider podcast.
Yes, it'll probably be very interesting in these 600 versions of Knight Rider that they had eventually. But whatever it is, man. So, yeah, we got a lot to talk about. A lot of trailers dropped this week that are in our wheelhouse. We got our CW stuff to talk about. We got, obviously, a brand new episode of Loki that dropped on Wednesday. And we're continuing our look or examination or discussion, whatever you want to call it, our pre-Marvel MCU movies. And tonight, we are at Blade. 1998's Wesley Snipes' Blade, which I absolutely adore.
This is a multiverse I was really excited to get to. I mean, we've been jumping through the shallow pool of this multiverse of madness that is the pre-MCU. And yeah, that's another duck pun, by the way. I count that as a duck pun from last week's Shallow Into the Pool. But this was a pleasure. I can't wait to talk about it in detail.
All right, so let's get to the first trailer that dropped this week. I think it was on Monday or Tuesday this one had dropped. Was Snake Eyes, G.I. Joe Origins. A trailer that, I mean, I enjoyed the first one. It got me more excited for the movie. And as we've said, points of trailers are to raise your excitement level for the movie from where it was previously before you saw the trailer. So, judging the trailer on that, this was a phenomenal trailer. It got me even more excited for it. Snake Eyes is my favorite G.I. Joe character, and I'm excited to see what they're doing with him. They're giving him a whole origin story and things like that, which is different from the comic book one, but that's fine. It looks really interesting. We got to see more of like Storm Shadow in it. That was pretty cool. We got to see Baroness. We got to see Scarlet as well. So we knew those characters were in the movie, but now we got to see them. I love the thing at the end, the scene at the end where he puts like the mask on and then like the visor just like slides over. I was like, holy shit, give me this movie ASAP. Jason, you're a G.I. Joe guy too. What did you think?
Oh, this looks fun. I'm all in. Like, I watched it, and I like you. I loved Snake Eyes when I was younger. He was probably my favorite G.I. Joe for the simple fact that he started Cobra and then turned Joe. And I always loved that sort of duality of characters, of heroes. They could also be villains, so I loved him for that. This just as a trailer, this made me interested in the movie. I like the backstory. It looks like it's a cool backstory they're setting up for him. I was excited to see Baroness because I love Baroness and Destro are like my favorite Cobra people. And as a kid, like I quested for those action figures, and I could never find them because once the Joes were gone, they were gone. Yeah. So it was nice to see the Baroness. I'm with you. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. Even it's gonna be like for me, I'm sure like Mortal Kombat. Like even if it's like stupid fun, that's all I need. And if it's better, it's better. That's great.
Yeah, and I think I'm pretty excited for it. I think it seems to be an improvement on the other G.I. Joe movies that we got, which were kind of hokey. Even though Retaliation I thought was better, but this looks like they're, really taking their time and knocking it out of the park with this one. So I can't wait to see this one. When it comes out, I believe it's late July it drops.
Okay. So, and we'll be doing that on the show, no?
Oh, absolutely. We're covering Snake Eyes. Yeah, there's no question about that. Another movie we'll be covering when it drops later this summer in August is the Suicide Squad. So I know that they did a whole online thing where the cast was leaking the trailer out on their Twitter accounts at first, and then it officially dropped. But we got ourselves a brand new trailer. Looks like some more insanity. We got a lot of backstory for Bloodsport, who Idris Elba is playing, who, if you're not familiar with it, and they did kind of like spell it out there in the trailer, that he's been locked up because he put Superman in the ICU by shooting him with a kryptonite bullet. So
that's an awesome detail.
It is. It's a pretty insane detail, and this is a DCU film, so we're obviously assuming this was Henry Cavill's Superman that he had shot. So
I wonder if that was in retaliation to all of the fans going, how the hell is the Suicide Squad supposed to take down Superman? Superman would crush them. Like, even we said that in response to the movie. I wonder if that was James Gunn going, let me show you how my Suicide Squad would have done it.
I think if that's the case, that's absolutely genius. That is absolutely genius. That's a perfect way to do it. But this one, the first one got our attention a lot. But Jason, what did you think of the Suicide Squad trailer?
I mean, I enjoyed it. Again, I like the idea of the Suicide Squad a lot. I like the comics. I love the characters they're focusing on. I love that we get Idris Elba, because I was disappointed there was no Deadshot, but it looks like they're setting, he's going to be the Deadshot-like figure, because he's also a gun guy, right? Like, they have a very similar, they're like mercenaries. They got a similar skill set. So, if I'm losing Will Smith and gaining Idris Elba, I can't complain. I'm excited to see King Shark and the Thinker. Like, we saw some King Shark stuff, and he looks like he's going to be like comic relief, which I think perfect, just pitch perfect. I thought it was a good trailer. I mean, I'm excited to see this movie.
Yeah, the trailer did a lot for me. I mean, I was pretty hyped up after the last one. This one got me even further. Got a little bit more King Shark, who we know is being voiced by Sylvester Stallone.
Right,
absolutely perfect.
Fantastic.
Perfect. We got some more comedic relief from John Cena as well.
Oh,
he's in the classroom scene, he's taking his notes and stuff like that. So I thought that was great. And in the first trailer, we got him talking about the island of bag of dicks and things like that, how he would go ahead and eat them all if it would save America and stuff like that. So, man, that was so much fun.
It looks like it's going to be the Suicide Squad we wanted in the first one. You know what I mean? Like the fun, the camaraderie, we're in over our heads, but it's not a world-ending scenario, because it doesn't look like it's a world-ending scenario.
No, not at all.
And I think it actually reminded me of like one of the first storylines where they send the Suicide Squad into a football field that was infested with some sort of disease that mutated people, and their job was to wipe everyone out. And that's kind of the feel I got from it. So hopefully they learn the lesson from the first one, and it looks like they have.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're like us, who were, well, Jason less than me, but Tony and I absolutely despise Suicide Squad, but we are excited. We're equally as excited to see what James Gunn can do, because we like James Gunn, and he looks like from the trailers, like Jason just said, they nailed the tone. They nailed it. It's what we wanted the first time. Kind of like a soft reboot and redo, but we'll get it right this time. So I would definitely suggest having confidence in this one and going with it and checking it out.
And my girl Harley Quinn's in it, so even if it's just as bad as the first one, I got that, and that got me through the first one. It'll get me through anything.
That's a fair point. I'm 100% with you on that one. But then also last night, a trailer had dropped during the Western Conference NBA Finals in ESPN. We got a brand new Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings trailer. Now, let me tell you, out of the three trailers that we're talking about right now, this was the one I think had the biggest jump. Because as much as I enjoyed the first Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings trailer, this one showed more. Some people were complaining a little that they felt like maybe they showed a little bit too much, but I think by now we know that Marvel Studios knows what they're doing. They'll show you enough, but they never give away their whole bag of tricks in a trailer. So as much as you've seen, I don't think that's anywhere near what we're getting. There was some plot details that were revealed. If you're not familiar, we got to see the Mandarin, the real Mandarin this time, not the fiasco from Iron Man 3, which Marvel had set up. If you didn't get a chance to see the Marvel one-shot, All Hail the King, they did reveal that the real Mandarin is out there. So the Mandarin from Iron Man 3 was not the case. But the Mandarin, he's related, his son is Shang-Chi. So therefore, he's looks like they're going to obviously be facing off. They showed what the 10 rings are. They showed a lot of like mystical, magical stuff. Like, it was crazy. Dude, we saw him in the water face to face with Fin Fang Foom.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm excited because, again, Mandarin and Fin Fang Foom, I never thought I'd get a real Mandarin. I never thought I'd see Fin Fang Foom. I don't know the character of Shang-Chi, but who cares? I want to see where this is going.
We are getting massive giant dragon in the water facing off with him. Wow.
It's awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. My only regret is that Tony Stark didn't live long enough to face off against the Mandarin, because he was the Iron Man villain in the comic.
Yeah.
But whatever. Things have to change, and this looks really exciting.
And another crazy thing that I did not know what was happening, and that we saw in the trailer, is it looks like some sort of cage match going on between Wong, yes, Doctor Strange's Wong, and the Abomination.
Yeah,
the Abomination. They pulled him back from the Incredible Hulk.
That looked like the Abomination. I wasn't sure if I was right about that.
No, that's comics accurate.
Wow.
By the way, comics accurate Abomination, who they did explain, if you remember in the Incredible Hulk, they did say that he was kind of mutating and changing around. So his appearance changing would make sense. It kind of jives. So
yeah, and there is a Marvel one-off that makes it clear the Abomination is still hanging around.
Yes, they said he was a shield. He was in a shield base, like Antarctica or something, shit like that.
Yeah, so they very carefully kept him around. So I think it's cool that they're going, all right, no one's used him in a while. They're never doing a Hulk movie again. Let's pull him out.
Yeah, that was awesome, dude. I did not expect that at all. I even had to watch it a couple of times over to be like, is that the Abomination and Wong fighting? Wow. I mean, holy shit, I can't wait for it.
Yeah, this is going to be good. I'm really excited about this. And then the trailer made me excited. Because again, this is a property I don't know. So I was excited for other reasons than Shang-Chi, and because it's an MCU movie, but now watching the trailer, I'm like, oh, I got to see this.
Yeah, no, it definitely jumped up a few notches. For me, I was like, because we're gonna see a Marvel movie, a Marvel Studios movie anyway.
Right.
But man, you really got me locked in now, man. I cannot wait for September to get here to see that thing. All right, but let's go ahead and let's keep it rolling on. We'll get to the CW time. So, Jason,
CW time.
Take us through DC's Legends of Tomorrow, Season 6, Episode 7.
All right, so this is the Back to the Future 2 episode, as they point out, which I love. I love that they just point it out. It's actually a plot point. It's how they find out what's going on. The Legends. So pretty much, all right. So pretty much what happens is I was correct. Captain Lance is in fact a clone. The real Captain Lance is dead. The nerve on this show, and I love it. This is why I love this show, because they don't care. Now Captain Lance can heal and has alien powers. Deal with it.
Yep.
I love the scene where Bishop shoots himself in the head so he can regenerate the other clone thing.
That was cool.
That was really fun. But yeah, I mean, this was a good episode. It was the let's get the team back together episode. It was again like I keep saying it was. So Lance escapes, meets up with Rory. The Avas are helping her because she's gotten to them. They defeat Bishop. The alien that was sleeping with Rory looks to have abandoned them, comes back, but then she disappears. She might be dead. Everyone goes back to the Wave Rider. And then on the Wave Rider, they are trying to save Lance by going back to the finale. That's the Back to the Future 2 thing. Yes. And then they say, yeah, we got to go back to the finale. And someone says, I think Spooner goes, what's a finale? Oh, yeah, finales are fun. You haven't seen them yet. Most people stop by. I love the way it knows it's a show.
The meta humor on a show is off the charts.
It's off the charts. That's why I love it. And of course, what I like is it sets up that the whole reason Sarah Lance gets abducted in the first place is because they try to Back to the Future to it. Because if you remember at the end of the finale, she falls back because she hears someone call her name and she gets beamed up by the Gary creatures. Mm-hmm. And we find out in this it was Behari. I always forget his name. I can't. But it was the brother. It was the twin. And so he realizes that, oh my God, I'm the reason she got caught. There's a fun scene where Ava catches the Legends from the future, the Ava of the finale, comes in and goes, oh, you're not my Legends, you're from the future. And if I'm not here, you shouldn't be doing this. So I'm going to get pissed drunk so I don't remember this, and you all need to go back. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, I mean, overall, this was it was a solid episode. It was another plot-driven episode. Nothing too crazy. I think they probably could have pushed the craziness of the Back to the Future 2 thing more. But like they also had other stuff they were doing, so I'm not dinging them for it. But overall, it's a solid episode. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, me too. I thought it was a lot of fun. I like, as also fans of Back to the Future, you catch all the references that are there. The meta references are there. That were great. So yeah, no, definitely another fun episode for Legends, and they just keep on cranking them out, man. Just keep on cranking out the fun.
They really do. And the scene I almost forgot to hit on is when Steele gets up to go to the bathroom, and he comes from the future with an eye patch, dressed as Constantine, with a roll of toilet paper, and he goes, "He's in there. He'll need this. Take that." And then, because the whole implication is every time, and this is a running thing of the show. Anytime you try to change the timeline, things get fucked up. And so, Lance is still gone, and now Constantine's dead, and he's pretending to be Constantine, but it's a throwaway gag. He comes out, he does the gag, he leaves, and Steele comes from the bathroom, looks at the toilet paper, and goes, "I could have used that 5 minutes ago."
Did you get it? That was his kind of like Snake Plissken?
Oh, absolutely.
That was his Snake Plissken.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he was doing the voice. Absolutely.
Yeah, I thought it was great. If he was sort of talking about how, the president has been kidnapped, or the president's daughter or something like that.
That's right.
I would have been like, man, they're just not caring about how on the nose this is. I would have given him even more credit for that.
Yeah, it was a real fun episode.
All right, so let's get to the other Sunday CW show, which, by the way, the season finale is this week. The season finale of Batwoman is this week.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Thank you for that. What a great week this is.
But listen, having said that, if you've been following us, you do know that we've been warming up to the show.
Yeah,
we've been warming up to it.
It's still not a show I would watch if we weren't covering it, but I don't have the disdain for it I had when we first started.
I enjoyed this one again. I actually enjoyed a lot of things in this episode, and I said something to Angie that I could not believe that I was ever going to say. I told her quickly, I am enjoying Batwoman more right now than I am The Flash.
Oh, 100%. I enjoyed this more than The Flash, 100%.
Yes, and this has been for a few weeks now.
Yeah, same here. We'll get to Flash, but I thought this was a solid episode. Too much Kate Kane for my taste, if you know what I mean, because I don't really like Kate Kane, but I thought that the twist was cool that she turns on them. I think the really interesting part, that I really liked, was when they got Batwoman in for probation, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's obvious that they had planted it on her and everything, and she convinces a probation officer. She's like, and I really like this moment because there's nothing else. There's no other play, and she's like, look, I didn't do it. I'm Batwoman. All right, they're trying to kill me because I'm Batwoman, and there's a moment that she doesn't believe it, and then she does. She convinces her, and she lets her go. And I thought that was like the realest moment of the episode. I really
she kicks ass, and that's kind of really when she believes it. She busts up a bunch of GCPD right there in that interrogation room.
Absolutely. So yeah, I thought it was a solid episode. I mean, I didn't love it, but I thought it was definitely entertaining.
Wow, we are getting a comment from YouTube from Sony Pictures Entertainment. What's up?
Well, what's up to you, Sony?
What is up, Sony? What's going on? Thanks for checking us out, man.
Yeah.
So I think I would have to say that the episode was cool. I thought the perfume torture in the beginning was actually pretty funny. I was gonna ding them for it, and then I just actually kind of felt it comedic, and I was like, maybe I'm being a little too harsh right now because I think they weren't going for something serious there.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny, but it was like, also, is that really what's going to make this tough?
No,
like got cracked. No, but at least it was. I think for me, I let it go when Batwoman goes, well, they didn't have time to run through the whole catalog or something like that. I was like, all right, they know what they're doing. I get it. Okay. I
thought they had some fun with it. We get to see that Kate Kane right now is a double agent after she's like the team's warming up to her and are excited to have her back. And you see Ryan is like having her doubts, like, oh wow, they're hyped up to have Kate back, and all of them take turns of jogging her memory. Like Sophie kind of like gets dressed up and is like, all right, maybe I'll jog her memory like this. And then Luke is like, go ahead and gives her the keys to the motorcycle and things like that. And it's like, hey, maybe you'll jog your memory like this. Like they were all trying, and then Ryan sees that happening, and she's kind of like, well, she says in a moment, I can't remember who it was, but it's like, well, I was only kind of like keeping the costume warm for her, and she goes back to like her van. And she leaves. She leaves her loft and leaves everything. I genuinely feel bad for her. I was just like, wow, that kind of sucks, man.
I did too. I was like talking about like feeling used and thrown away. It's like, all right, because they weren't trying they weren't kicking her out.
No, they weren't at all.
But they were making it clear, like not meaning to, that like, oh my god, we're excited. The real Batwoman's back. Kate Kane's back.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like that that part of it where she feels that she has to give the moniker back, because that seems real to me. And her going back to the trailer, and there was a heartbreaking line. She was like, Mama, I don't have you, and I don't have your plant, and it's like to know that she use the plan to try to save Kate Kane, even though Alice screwed them all over, as Alice is wont to do. That was kind of sad, So yeah, this episode had moments for me completely.
No, it did. And then we see Black Mask is recruiting former Crows and like getting them under his wing and like making them like false face now. But then I'm sorry. Yeah, by the way, so they planted more empty vials of snakebite on Ryan to get when the GCPD kind of went ahead and arrested her in her van. Yeah, they obviously planted that, but it just seems like you just got to throw snakebite vials in anything here, and then that's how you're setting everybody up now.
I wonder if those are the same vials they used for Papa Crow a couple episodes ago. Did they just hold those vials? Oh, no, these are our drop vials.
Yes, those are the ones. Those are our setup vials, so, we just go ahead and use those. But I thought it was a really cool conversation between Ryan and Black Mask in the car.
Oh,
in the cop car, because then Ryan's in the back of the cop car, and then Black Mask obviously was paying them off for that because the GCPD will always be corrupt. So there's that. But then he refers to her. I thought it was cool that he refers to her as the Cape Crusader.
Yes, yeah, that was
that was a kind of cool nod. So I thought that was pretty cool there.
And again, the guy who plays Black Mask is just fun to watch. Like he's my favorite fit person to watch in any episode he's in, because he's just so fun. He's just so good,
Yeah, he plays the perfect level of like over the top villain, and I think it's great.
Yeah, like if they ever wanted to do something else with the Black Mask in another show or another property, I wouldn't be upset if this guy was him. No, that's how good I think he is.
Yeah, no, he's really good. And then we see Kate Kane takes out the Bat Team minus Ryan. In the Batcave, like in a pretty messed up scenario. Like she really starts like shooting them and stuff, like whatever darts those were and everything, and locks them in the elevator.
And I get, and this is what got me. I get I'm the villain. I'm going to shoot you with darts and lock you up. But she makes it a point to rub it in her ex-girlfriend's face, because in the beginning of the episode, she says she's showing her some letters she wrote to her years ago when they first broke up. And she says something like, lying to you was the hardest thing I had to do. And then when she reveals that she's the double agent, she's like, I just want to let you know that lying to you has been the easiest thing I've had to do. It's like, oh, come on, just shoot them with a dart, but don't rub their noses in it, the fact that you tricked them.
No, she was relentless, man. I'm like, if Kate Kane is the one who becomes like the villain of the show, which would be a crazy twist.
I'd be on board for that. I think that would be awesome. A great use of the character.
Yeah, no, they've done some wild shit with her. But I thought it was a really crazy thing. So Kate is going through while they're locked up, she's going through the Batcave and checking out stuff, and she stumbles upon a room, which apparently is the main reason she was there. And she finds a bunch of biohazard items that were there for what Bruce left. Yes, Bruce Wayne, the acknowledgement that he was Batman at one point was there. But then we find a lot of the Easter eggs in that cabinet were kind of wild. There was like a flower you could tell was like from the Joker.
Yes.
There was a big can of like the Venom, which I thought it was goofy that it said Venom on it, but you knew that was from Bane. But whatever. That felt very Batman 66 to me, by the way, when it was labeled Venom on it.
This show, and this is why I got mad when it made fun of Batman 66 a couple episones ago, because this show kind of, it teeters on Batman 66 tone.
It sure does. Don't throw stones, glass houses and such. But then they also mentioned, though, apparently what Sophia wanted, because Sophia is working with Black Mask, she wanted an element from Poison Ivy.
Yes, the fact that Poison Ivy, I was very excited that Poison Ivy was mentioned, because it means now she might show up.
Yeah, she exists. Bane exists. The Joker, they've said the Joker exists before, but they reinforced that. So Poison Ivy exist in this CW verse. So I thought that was pretty cool. We got some cool shit there, and then we got a big showdown with Kate fighting Ryan in the Batcave.
Yeah, that was
which was a pretty good fight. It was well choreographed fight and everything like that. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I thought it was a good fight, very well choreographed, and entertaining to watch, and and I love the symbolism of the Batwoman fighting Batwoman in the Batcave for okay, who's the queen? Who is Batwoman? Yeah. And so I give this episode credit. It was a good episode.
Yeah, and then also because Ryan was, off, she was out of the picture for a minute. The Bat team did give Kate Kane back the bat suit. At the end of the episode, they show her with the suit, like drawing a weird crooked line through the Bat logo, through the Bat symbol. So, again, we've had a lot of things to say about this series, this season, and they've had it in a very solid. I think they're in for a strong finish. I'm genuinely excited. I know we were laughing about it being this finale next week, but they've set themselves up for what should be a pretty exciting finale if they can stick the landing.
Yeah, if they could stick the landing, this could be good. And honestly, I wouldn't be opposed if they set up Kate Kane as the villain for next season. If that's where they're going, I think that would be really compelling. I think that would be really and a good way to really utilize Ryan and still have Kate Kane around, because that's what they wanted. And my whole thing is I felt they underutilized their actual Batwoman. But if she's fighting the old Batwoman, I think that's a really great way to use both of those characters.
Yeah, I
hope they do it. Sorry.
Yeah, no, good. I think that's a cool scenario. You could have that. And she could be some sort of they have the Batman who laughs last and stuff like that in the comics. You could have sort of like an evil Batwoman type thing. You could go that route. I was wondering at one point if they were going to rescue Kate Kane and get her back, and maybe one was going to be Batgirl and one would take up the be Batwoman. I don't know if it was going to be, because I know we all know Luke Fox is going to be suiting up as Batwing.
Yes,
it should be next week. It should be in the finale. So we're going to get that, which should be awesome as well.
Yeah,
so,
I'm looking forward to that. And again, because I really like that actor. I think outside of the Black Mask, because the Black Mask is a villain, but out of the mains, I think he's my favorite of them. He's solid performance. And when he went dark, last week when we talked about it, I thought the range that he showed, I got excited. That's when I got excited to see him in the outfit, because I'm like, oh, this dude can act. This guy can really, turn it on and off. So I want to see what he does in the costume.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens next week. We'll definitely be discussing that finale on our next episode. So that brings us to The Flash, Season 7, Episode 14. We may have buried the lead with this one exactly. But I know we've been back. This has been the CW show that we've been bagging on for a little bit. And it's
a bad season.
It's a pretty bad season. And this episode didn't do it any favors.
No. I want to be clear that I rewatched all of The Flash. I caught up on The Flash. It was the first thing I caught up on. There are phenomenal seasons of The Flash. This is not one of them. This is just, it's there. I'm not even going to say it's terrible. It's just there. Terrible would be interesting. Yeah,
this is bad. I mean, this is just another episode I did not really enjoy a lot. I mean, it's a Flashless episode, which they get rid of him again, because him and Iris have to go on a vacation because they're trying again. It's almost like the people who wrote this show or this season they've never been parents or anything. I mean, I am not a parent of a human being, but I mean, it just seems like they're so goofy in the way that they're awkwardly going about this.
Yeah. We have to have sex everywhere but our bed. That's how to make a baby, right? I mean,
yes.
We got to do it in the supply closet, and then we got to go to the Bermuda. It's like, and I don't even, the fact that it was a Flashless episode. I mean, we've had interesting Flashless episodes this season. The one with Chester and Cisco, where they go back in time, that was super. That's probably my favorite episode of the season so far. But this is a Flashless episode where they focus on the most boring of the new Flash people, in my opinion. The woman who's Allegra, yeah. She's been on the show now 2 seasons. I don't have many memories of her because she's just not memorable. I mean, at least when they do things with Chester, that's an interesting, memorable character that I can at least go, okay, cool, I like this guy. He's got something going on. But man, this was an Allegra story. It's like, who cares? You're not even a Flash person. You work at the newspaper.
Exactly. I don't know, man. Very bizarre decisions. Well, the short version of it, because there's really not a lot of details to get into, but the return of Ultraviolet, it was a villain we saw that was the Black Hole last season. By the way, the meta prison in Star Labs was actually acknowledged, because I don't remember the last time. I thought they got rid of it. I don't know the last time they used the damn thing. Joe West is doing his whole investigation into I guess Commissioner Kramer. So there's that thing. We find out Kramer was set up and she was working with like a team of metas and stuff. So hopefully that storyline goes somewhere, because it really looked like they didn't do much.
And I'm happy they're giving Joe some stuff to do, because if you remember last week I expressed concern that he might be leaving the show. So please give that man stuff to do. Don't let him go anywhere.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the guy who plays Joe West, and yeah, he seems like he's getting something to do now in the Flashless episode. But you can give him stuff to do when the Flash is around. It's okay. You know?
He's Flash's dad. It was actually the best part of season 1, in my opinion, was that those father-son moments. Like, let's bring some of that back.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. By the way, whatever happened to Joe and Cecile's kid?
I was thinking the same thing. I guess much like in Family Matters, she went upstairs one day and never came back down.
I guess so. I mean, what the hell? I've been wondering this a little bit here and there, and I'm like, maybe I forgot about it, but I don't know. The kid vanished. Allegra leveled up, and pretty much got taking down her cousin, so she has her powers now. So maybe she will have some more interesting shit to do going forward. Who the hell knows? It looks like that's what this episode was like. Hey, we're gonna give her something to do, so you care. And
right.
We're hoping that that's the case.
But it's like, it wasn't just a Flashless episode. Joe had his own thing going on, which had nothing to do with the main plot. Killer Frost was floating around there, right? Doesn't she try to, again, she's still fighting the bartender who's now out, like, but again, Killer Frost has nothing to do with the main episode. Like, it's a Flashless episode where all of your main characters are going, oh, no, I'm not going anywhere near that main plot.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm going to get to Killer Frost in a second, because if I remember, she's in like 2 scenes. Yeah. And one of them was my WTF moment of the week.
Oh, it had to be. I know which one, too.
Oh, my God. But are they setting up an Allegra and Chester thing?
Yes.
Right?
I think they are.
Yeah, it looks like they're getting together, because there was some weird, awkward thing with, like, maybe we should go to Jitters and go on a date or something like that. Or, like, I don't know. It just seemed very bizarre.
And she plays D&D at the end of the episode, right?
Yes, exactly.
Which by the way, that
made me think of you, by the way.
That was my favorite part of the episode. Chester is unabashedly into D&D, and I love this. My favorite scene of the whole episode, the only interesting part, was Chester coming in to Jitters with the elf ears on, and he goes, "Wait, what's it? The guy, I don't remember let's say his name is Gary. I don't remember the guy's behind the counter's name. He's like, Gary didn't tell me about these. And Gary's like, because you wouldn't let you threw Gary out of your session. If you would let me join the quest, I would have had your back like that. That was a truly funny moment for me.
That was great. And I thought of you immediately. I'm like, this is going to be fun to talk about, because this is probably the best thing about the episode.
Absolutely. And for those of you who don't know, the reason Eddie thought of me right away is because I have a no Thursday rule, because that's my standing D&D night for the week. So I can never do a show on a Thursday, because I won't cancel my D&D.
Well, listen, I respect it. Me and Tony got our sports too, so we totally understand that. But the WTF moment of the week is the last scene of the episode of The Flash, where Frost is tracking down the bartender guy whose name we just don't even bother remembering.
He's hot bartender.
He's the hot bartender guy who became a villain, who had a suit out of nowhere, but now he doesn't have the suit anymore. I don't know what the hell's going on with this guy, but the most head-scratching what the fuck moment of a while now is the fact that she tracks him down. She's like about to bring him back to Iron Heights, and he pulls out a fucking crumbled up piece of a newspaper to show the front page story to her, to say, oh, look, see, I flipped and I made a deal with like the DA or something. You walked around with this thing in your back pocket just in case you ran into Killer Frost and you could explain this to her.
He knew she was coming for him. Sexual tension.
Oh my God.
Eye contact, man. They had it. I love though that he has proof, and that's so convoluted. Who puts that in the newspaper? And B, if that was front page of the newspaper, wouldn't Killer Frost have known? The woman doesn't live under a rock.
That's my point. And the fact that he's walking around with this in his back pocket at all times
at all times,
is completely absurd.
He gets stopped a lot. Like he tries to go into, the local Best Buy and like, I'm sorry, sir, but you're a supervillain. No, I flipped. Here, look at this.
Oh man, that was brutal. I was like, wow, that was it's like you just got kicked in the nuts and you're on the floor and you're in pain, and then someone comes by and they're like, by the way, wham again, and then I'm just like, oh my god, I couldn't wait to just hit stop, erase that from my DVR, and go to freaking watch Superman and Lois. I was like, please get me out of here.
Well, I had a choice the night that they came on. I was able to watch one of them, and I was like, all right, do I want to watch The Flash or do I watch Superman and Lois? And I went, I want to watch Superman and Lois, so let me get The Flash over with, because I'll enjoy that one.
I can't believe that we're at this point with The Flash, man.
I know.
Wow, it's rough.
Again, I really, as a fan of the show, I think it needs to go. I mean, they've lost most of the interesting cast. They're not using the cast they have. When you're giving us multiple flashless episodes in this season, which is like every other season of The Flash except for last season because of COVID, there was always like they were working towards something by the end of the season. Yeah. And we don't even have that. I don't even, what the hell are they doing? I don't know. They're just dicking around, and you're giving me flashless episodes, plural, when you have just dick around episodes. Like, what are they doing?
Yeah, I don't understand, man. I really don't get it. But I will say though, the trailer and I thought about this during this while I was watching this episode, before the trailer for next week. I was like, holy shit, what would I give to have a speedster show up and just get something going again, man?
Right.
But we're getting Godspeed next week. Apparently, is back, and looks like Barry is back. You know, maybe he succeeded. They're done trying now. I don't know, man. But apparently, Godspeed is back. So please get back on track, Flash.
Please, because you have again. I like the Flash for the most part. I'm a fan of the Flash, but this is hard to watch.
Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty brutal, man. But a show that was not hard to watch whatsoever was Superman and Lois, season 1, episode 11. An episode that, I would say half the episode is kind of giving us this Superman's origin in a way, like in a backdoor way, which wasn't just like, hey, we're going to go through this for no reason. We find out later that it was, I'm sorry, I forgot his Kryptonian name.
Oh,
it was Edge. Yeah, his Kryptonian name's escaped me, but it was a guy who was Edge, who we know is Superman's brother, half brother now, was jogging his memory through a device that's there. But we get to see some cool shit, man, because we get to see how Kal-El found the Fortress of Solitude.
Yep, that was cool.
In this version, really cool shit. First Flight, which is a scene that me and Tony really love from Man of Steel. So we got to see this Superman's first flight, which is really cool. There was the callback to the pilot episode because they show when he gets the original Superman costume from Action Comics #1 and he carries the green car and everything. That was cool. So we get to see that entire scene and what led up to it. And after that, we get to see Perry White for the first time because we never saw Arrowverse Perry White.
We do. We get to see a classic callback of him changing in a phone booth.
Yes, how awesome!
Which I love. When they first passed the phone booth and he kind of did this, I was like, no, you can't. You put the phone booth in there. But when he goes back and he comes out as Clark Kent, and what just happened? And they're telling him about Superman and oh man, what a heartwarming moment of nostalgia where it's they went there.
No, they went there and they really did. And this Superman has a full backstory now, which I really like. We got to see his origin, and this guy just nails it, man. This show just knows its stuff, and they've totally done a complete about face from anything that I thought of Superman prior to this show coming out, man. They have fucking in spades. They've done it.
And what I really loved about this episode, and this is done differently than in any of the movies that I've seen, right, including the Henry Cavill one, is that Lois Lane doesn't fall in love with Superman. She falls in love with Clark Kent. And that's made clear in a scene where she's interviewing him. And of course he has a thing for her because he has a thing for her as Clark Kent. And you gonna get that the impression well, I'm doing this interview so I can impress you because now I'm Superman. I couldn't do this as Clark Kent. And she her friend is he's got eyes for you. And she's look, I'm in love with Clark. I know he's goofy, but he's a great guy. And I love that moment because it's she's always in love with him for Superman, And in this one, no, she loves him for who he is, because he is Clark Kent. He's a goofy, Smallville kid at heart. And it was such a phenomenal little moment they put in that just enriched their relationship and the character of Lois Lane for me a lot.
Yeah, they did, and that's what this whole thing did too. They did a lot of that, and then we also get to see where they have like their first adventure together.
Yeah.
And then Clark is there, and then there's a callback, and then she dubs him Superman.
She does, yeah.
Because she's like, sees him as Superman. He's like, what should I call you? And he's like, he says something like, oh, you'll figure it out. And he kind of flies off. And then she's watching him, and then somebody comes up to her and says, who was that? And she goes, that's Superman. And I was like, this is awesome, man. This is so cool.
It was cool. And then to see their wedding, I thought was super cool.
Yeah.
I really loved, like, after the wedding, like, I love him, like, they're in bed, and he's like, I can't wait to tell my dad, like, because he does.
Yeah,
Jor-El. I mean, and that is his dad, and it's his only dad, of course, because at this point, Pa Kent is, he's gone. Yeah. But I love that moment where he goes to tell his dad, and like there's just, again, this show finds a way to make Superman like real for me, and again, like, this is my favorite incarnation of Superman. Like anything I've ever seen, this is my favorite.
I got to be honest, it is winning me over now from Henry Cavill, and I could not believe I'm saying this either, but Cavill might be number 2 now, because this one's really the winner, man.
Because he has range. Like, he's not just Superman. Like, when he's Superman, he sells it, but when he's like Clark Kent, he also sells that. Like, it's like we always say with Batman, like, it's. Some of them are great Batman, but terrible Bruce Waynes, and vice versa. And I feel the same way about Superman, right? You can be a great Superman, you can be a great Clark Kent. It doesn't necessarily do both well. I think Hockner does both equally as well. Yeah,
he's just fantastic. So, before we wrap up this part of it, we get to see bilingual Superman, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Which languages have you learned? All of them.
Yeah, and but I love his response to it, though. His response is because when he got here, he was very interested about the entire planet. So he learned literally every language. I thought that was great. It made so much sense.
And of course he could, because he's Superman.
Exactly. Why couldn't he? I mean, he could hear it and then just like speed read through it if he really wanted to.
Right.
But then we get I thought there was a scene too where I wonder if they were going to retcon the birth of the twins, because in this memory of his, they see that Lois was having twins from the get-go, but in Crisis on Infinite Earths, he learns that there were twins that existed at the last. But then we find out, though, at that moment, though, that this is going through certain memories, and he finds out that's when Clark says that this isn't real. So I wonder if it's Edge screwing with his mind, and maybe they weren't totally retconning it. So I don't know. That's still up for interpretation, I think.
Although didn't they say that, like, anyone who had memories of the real timeline after Crisis also had memories of the new timeline?
Yes, so Superman has them.
Yeah, so Superman has them, and maybe though in the beginning, the Superman from Crisis was like, okay, that I don't have twins. This is like 15 years after Crisis, right? Because
I don't know. I don't know, because they never.
His kids were babies. Because I just watched Crisis not too long ago. Yeah. Like, his kids or his kid, whatever it is a baby on Argus, and then they leave Argus, and Argus gets destroyed. So this has to be, if those kids are 15, this has to be 15, 16 years later after that. So at this point, I would think that he just has accepted those as the memories, because these are his kids. So I'm willing to give it a pass on that. Like, they're not gonna beat the dead horse that was what happened in Crisis. Either you saw it or you didn't. Yeah. No reason to go back to it. So I'm completely okay with these being the memories.
Oh no, I'm not digging them anyway. But I was just kind of curious though, because they seem like they've been little by little. The shows have been acknowledging Metropolis and Gotham and the other cities, and they've never really disclosed the time gap or when this show takes place. So I'm just kind of curious to know. Plus, we know Diggle is showing up on this show.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So
that's right.
Maybe we'll get a clarification exactly then when it is. I also thought maybe there was something to do with Crisis where the kids aged or something like that.
Maybe
differently. I don't know. There could be something, but I'm sure they'll probably cover it at some point. It could just be a throwaway line. Again, I'm not something I'm harping on at all. But then at the end of the episode, though, another like heartbreaking thing. So Edge goes to go for Clark's family, goes for Lois and the twins, and Jordan actually tries to stand up to him.
Yeah,
with his
which
laser
is
vision,
awesome.
and like boom, like kind of flicks him away. And then Superman shows up, and then he has to kind of like submit to him. And they take him. We also find out that Edge has his own Fortress of Solitude in the desert, as opposed to the one in the ice and everything like that.
And again, reinforcing what I said the last time about why this is such a compelling villain, because he's the shadow of Superman, right? He's the opposite. Like you live in ice, I live in extreme heat, you know? Mm-hmm. So even symbolically on that level, I think it's such a good choice.
And there's a line that's all that Edge also has that's really cool too, is that the reason he put his fortress there was because he's like, I want the sun, you know, beating down on me and everything like that. I guess, you know, because obviously the Kryptonians get their power from the yellow sun. So so I thought that was pretty interesting. And at the end of the episode, it looks like they put his consciousness, like his let's see, Edge's father, his consciousness into Superman's Kal-El. You can see his eyes go red and stuff like that. It looks like it's there, and then Lois is calling Jeffrey Irons or whatever and saying, "Hey, listen, you know, it looks like it's going down the way you said." So crazy things happening there too, because they don't have a lot of episodes left either.
No, they don't. And I think they were setting this up, and I think that again, this is my prediction. I think it's going to start to look like it's going down exactly like it did in Steele's world, but the big difference is that, you know, he's here in this world. Superman has his kids and Lois. He didn't have that in the other world, and I think that's going to be what makes him sort of fight. Like but I think it's interesting that they're setting that up, and I really hope they do some more fun stuff with that guy Steele, because I thought I loved him. Like, I loved him when I thought he was like alternate universe Luthor, and then when I found out he was Steele, I was like, no, that's even better. That's even cooler.
Yeah.
So I hope they kind of use him and maybe keep him around for a while. Maybe, you know, like join the cast, or, you know, be a recurring character at the least.
Yeah, no, I think they got a lot of cool things that they stuff, and I totally agree with you. I think it will be that the family was what saves Clark in the end, and, you know, Clark or Cal or Superman, whichever three names you want to use.
Yeah,
I'm bouncing all over the place with it, but what saves Superman in the end from turning evil like he did on the other Earth. So, all right, then that brings us to Loki, episode 3. We're halfway there, as Richie Sambora would say. So yeah, we get we'll just call her right now until we get to it. Lady Loki uses her magic in the opening scene to trick the TVA agents. We know that the one agent gave up the location of the timekeepers in the last episode, and the opening scene is showing how Lady Loki did that and got her to do it. So it looks like she's jogging memories and stuff, and slips in the question of, you know, where is the location of the timekeepers? How many people are guarding her? What's the security detail? Security detail of the timekeepers, and she wants to get information out of it, and then she kind of catches on to that, you know, eventually. But then we see what happened when they jumped through when Loki and Lady Loki jumped through to go to the TVA last time. She gets to the TVA and beats the piss out of a bunch of Minutemen.
Yeah.
Apparently, so you see what the hell she's got to do.
And I love that she tries to use her magic, realizes it's not working, and goes, okay, and takes one of their sticks and just goes to town. Like, that did not deter her. She's badass.
She's really badass, and she resets some of them too, where she starts using that stick to. So I mean, she's really just wiping the floor with these guys. So there's a brief battle. Then Renslayer shows up, and she's ready to, like, you know, take him down and everything like that. And then Loki was already there. There's a brief interaction with Loki and Lady Loki. Then Renslayer shows up, and Lady Loki threatens to, like, kill Loki, and she's like, whatever, I don't care. Do what the hell you want with him. Who gives a shit? You know?
That was really funny. And I think it sets up too, and I knew that was going to happen, because it's like, they don't care about him. Like, the only reason they haven't reset him is because Mobius vouched for him and thinks that he can, like, use him to finish this. Like, no one else is going to stand up for him.
No, Renslayer was like, fine, you'll be doing me a favor. Who gives a shit? But then Loki opens up a door, and they end up on a moon called Lamentus 1 in the year 2077. where there's a catastrophic event underway, which was kind of like where she's been hiding out and things like that. So he uses the temp pad that's there, but then the temp pad, we find out once they get to Lamentus, is out of power, and they need to find a large power source to recharge it to get the hell out of there.
And I love the exchange where she says to Loki, of all of the apocalypses on that pad, you had to bring us here. No one gets out of here ever. And he's like, yeah, well, sorry, love, I didn't have a chance to read the manual.
Oh yeah, the one of the strongest things about this episode, because we're gonna probably breeze through some of this, and because there's not too much deep diving to do, but a lot of this episode, there's a few huge key moments which we'll get to, and the chemistry between Loki and we'll still call her Lady Loki, or we're about to get to the scene where it's confirmed, which we said here last week, that her name will be Sylvie, that she's not actually a Loki. Even though it still hasn't been officially confirmed that she's not a variant Loki, but the belief is that she's Enchantress, because they keep hammering it home that she's using Enchantress, like she's enchanting people with her that's the magic spell she's using. So I think they're kind of like spelling it out for you, that's what we're going to find out it is.
I definitely think it's a variant. I think it's going to be a variant Enchantress, though. Because the fact that it's a variant becomes an important plot point, that they kind of drop something at the end of the episode, which we'll get to.
Yeah, and she's given the powers of Loki. So not actually being a Loki, but being given the powers of a Loki, because she also doesn't want to be referred to as a Loki. And she says that again in this episode. It makes that very clear. So I think that's where we're going to find out the relationship between a Loki, and her. There's also a great line where she asks him, what does it take to be a Loki? What makes a Loki? And he's, what does he say? Something like style or clever or cunningness and stuff like that.
Yeah. He gives such a bullshit Loki answer.
Oh yeah, that's great. So they make a brief stop before heading to the train at the edge of town, where there's a scene where Sylvie tries to go ahead and appeal to there was a woman who had lost her husband there. Then Loki goes ahead and flips himself to look like that person and sound like that person. He gets blasted away too anyway, and this woman's not really falling for this shit, and pretty much telling him piss off essentially.
Yeah, and I love the fact that they want to kill each other. They don't like each other. We're talking about Loki and Sylvie, or aka Lady Loki, but they have to work with each other, and they're trying to one up each other, right? So, and that's the first one where Sylvie's like, I got this, and she's like about to hit the door in, and this woman's sitting there like Kill Bill 2 style, like Mr. Blonde with the shotgun and the rocking chair. She opens the door and she gets blasted back, and then Loki is like, it needs style, it needs finesse, and he's like, and then he sees the picture, turns into her husband, and he's like, oh, you look so beautiful, and she shoots him. She's like, he ain't never said anything that nice to me in the entire time we knew each other. It's just a great moment. Again, as you said, it's the banter and the back and forth between these two characters that make this episode.
Yeah, they definitely carry it, from exactly. Not saying that nothing happened, because there were some big things we're about to get to that happened, but, their banter definitely carries it. So then Loki pretty much changes himself to appear as one of these guards, because they get to a train, which very, very much reminded me, do you ever see Snowpiercer?
Yes, absolutely. Great movie.
That's exactly where, I love Snowpiercer. I haven't seen the show, but I do love the movie.
I didn't even know there was a show.
Yeah, TNT does a show about it, which I didn't know you can make a show about that, but whatever.
But I definitely got Snowpiercer vibes, because at first I was like, wait, so is the arc this train like in Snowpiercer, or is it? We find out it's something else, and we'll get to it. But yeah, absolutely, Snowpiercer vibes all the way.
Yeah, so they're about to get on a train, and he disguises himself as a guard, pretty much like Sylvie's the prisoner. They try to get on, and ends up talking his way onto it. But then she enchants him. Sorry, yeah. So he's trying to talk his way there. Sylvie goes ahead and enchants him, and then convinces him, okay, yeah, you can let them on the train, because apparently only the rich and powerful who have tickets to this thing are allowed to get on this train, and everyone else is getting left for shit.
Yeah, because make no mistake, if the Earth was about to be destroyed and there was an arc to take human beings into space and save humanity, it wouldn't be any of us. It would be the rich and the popular and the famous. They'd let us all die, just like they do in this episode.
Yes, exactly. It's really fucked up. But there's a really cool scene right after that. So once they get on the train, Loki and Sylvie are having this long conversation, and they're exchanging notes of kind of oh wait, I was adopted and you were adopted, and they're comparing how their different Loki lives essentially have been, and the similarities and the differences. Loki gets very emotional again when talking about his mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which tracks, because again, that's the moment in the MCU where Loki starts to feel bad about the shit he's been doing. Like he tries to kill Thor 30 times. He doesn't care, but he accidentally got his mother killed. He loved his mother. His mother, he blamed Thor and he blamed Odin, but he never blamed his mother for what happened. And so the fact that he's responsible for that death and the fact that they keep bringing that back as an emotional point, I think that's ultimately what's shaping our Loki into being a hero that we all know he's going to wind up being the hero.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't think there's any question about that. But in a different way from what we saw play out in the MCU originally, he'll earn it a different way.
Right. And I just had a thought. This is my new prediction: is that she is Enchantress, but because she's a variant from an alternate universe that doesn't exist anymore, she is what if the Enchantress was adopted instead of Loki?
That's an interesting point.
So that's
pretty good. I did not think of that.
That's how she's a Loki and she's Enchantress, and they know, say have similar backstories. So that's kind of my that's my theory.
That's a good one.
That's the craziest I'm going. I'm not going Mojo with this one, not yet. Anyway.
All right. I mean, I was gonna just mention how I did think that maybe I saw Mephisto in the background of the comic, but maybe we'll leave that one out of this. Because you kind of like stole my thunder there. I was going to drop the my Mephisto theory.
Sorry, man. We got to start a Mephisto watch, like a segment on the show.
We should have. What show did we see him on this week?
Yeah, look, if he shows up on Baywatch Nights, I'm out. I'm done.
That's it. Just end it right there. But they exchanged details about their past, and Loki. There's a big reveal here. Loki reveals himself because she's like, hey, he says to her at first, hey, was there a prince or something, or maybe a special person back where you are? And she's like, no, not really, but nothing real. Essentially, that's kind of where it gets at. And then she flips the script and asks Loki, is there anyone, you were a prince, so was there any princess or anything like that, or maybe a prince, wink wink? And he's like, maybe a little bit of both. So like all right, so listen, Loki is apparently confirmed in canon as bisexual.
Which I think is awesome that it's confirmed, but it's also, for me, it's like, well, duh, he's a god. Like, look, Zeus used to dress up like a goose and have orgies with men and women. Like, the gods are crazy. They'll do it. Not that you have to be crazy to be bi, but I'm just saying, like, the gods are open, man. The gods do not fall into the human sexual trappings that we have put out. So, of course, he's bi.
Yeah, they're like, there's down for whatever, man. He's like, fine, that's it. I mean, whatever floats your boat, man. So we get that as confirmed. That's there. And also there was a tweet that was pretty cool about the director of the episode, who she had confirmed that she wanted to make this as being true to the character of Loki in the comics, who was also bisexual, and also that I believe she confirmed that she is as well.
Oh, okay. So,
she felt it was important to get it out there and get that confirmed.
Is Loki like confirmed bi in the comic? I didn't know that.
From my understanding, yes.
Oh, awesome! That's awesome. So then, of course, and even more, of course, he has to be bi in the show. It's comics accurate.
There you go. You want comics accurate? Comics accurate.
That's it.
So Loki gets drunk, and he's
favorite scene of the movie. Favorite scene of the show.
Which, by the way, is also a favorite scene of our buddy. I'm trying to pull up the comments here. Alex's favorite episode scene too.
Yep.
I love Loki singing. Probably one of my favorite moments of the episode. Alex, we're both with you 100%.
Oh yeah.
So Sylvie falls asleep, and she wakes up to Loki singing with a bunch of people. His disguise is gone. He's got his variant coat, his regular clothes, and she's like, "But where's the costume? What the hell is going on right now?"
And he's singing like an old like Swedish or
something like that.
Nordic. It's an old Nordic song. He's singing in another language. Second time we're getting to see bilingual Loki, which I really love.
I love that. And by the way, my favorite scene in this though is that when he's drinking and he slams down at things like another. It was a callback to the original Thor when Thor does that in the restaurant. Yeah. I thought that was great. And he does another shitty metaphor, by the way. So, no, we had last time where he did the shitty metaphor with Mobius and the salad. Apparently, he tries to describe love as a dagger. And he goes on his whole spiel about, when you try to get to it, it disappears. And all this other stuff. And she's like, what a shitty metaphor. He goes, well, I thought I had something going there, but no, not really. No, I got nothing. I thought that was great.
No, I love that. I love that recurring joke that he just can't make metaphors. It's phenomenal.
So then these guards come in, they get into a fight with the guards. One of the guards like throws like Loki out the window after he goes out of the train, and then Sylvie follows him because she's like, "Oh shit, the temp pad.
Yeah.
If I don't follow him, I can't get the hell out of here." Again, then knowing that they have to work together, even though they really don't want to at all, but they kind of have to now. So Sylvie explains her powers, and it's revealed that and they're having a conversation, which this is a huge moment in the episode. Sylvie is explaining a lot of her powers and things like that. And then it gets to where it's revealed that the TVA, right? Sylvie tells Loki that about the TVA, that the Minutemen and all the people in the TVA were variants, that they're humans. Because she was just like, well, what is it? There's a line that's there about like,
because she said that I remember this because in the beginning when she's going into the memory, how she's enchanting the woman in the beginning to get her to tell her where the TVA is or where the architects are, is she goes, yeah, I actually had to bring her back to a memory of before she joined the TVA. And Loki went, no, they're created by the architects to be there. And she's like, no, they're not. They're all variants. And he was like, oh, they don't know that.
Yeah. Pretty big point to drop in there right now that we're going to find out. And my guess right there is that Mobius, his jet ski thing, is because he probably was in his former life had a jet ski and this whole other stuff.
Yep, I
absolutely
agree. And I think my prediction is because again we know that Lady Loki's in the right. We know that there's the TVA is sus, as my students would say. So I think that he's going to turn Mobius with this information. I think that's why it's going to be important and I think that's how he's going to get the TVA on his side.
Yeah. And I think that's a really good point. So we'll see where that goes. But in the last scene, they pretty much stumble upon a city on their way to the Ark because they're off the train now, and they're pretty much on their way to like steal the Ark essentially and get the hell off the planet because now the temp thing's gone.
Great line, like, well, what happens to the Ark? It never makes it. It gets destroyed. Well, it never had us on it. Oh, do you want to hijack the Ark and make sure it survives? Yes, I do. And then what happens, Eddie, to the Ark?
Boom! Done! No more Ark!
It never gets to go anywhere. It gets destroyed by the flying debris while it's still in the thing. So that's why it never went anywhere. That's why it didn't survive. Which is awesome because had they been on the Ark, they would have been killed.
Yes. And they're alive now. And there's a cliffhanger leaving them there. Like, what the fuck?
It reminded me of a Doctor Who episode if Doctor Who was a dick. Because that's Loki, that's kind of what it reminded me of. Like, we're on a strange planet, things are trying to kill us, and we're making quips. Like, I think that's why I like the episode so much.
Yeah, no, again, that's what, for me, that's what drove the episode, and there was a lot of, like, funny moments like that. Alex is joining us on this, too. That must be why Mobius loves the jet skis, because he was from the 90s. Also might be why the architecture is based in the 60s.
I didn't even think about that, but yeah, that's a good point. That somehow, because we see people frozen in time, right? That's what variants are. They're frozen in time here. So that might pay off. Excellent eye, Alex.
Yeah, no, that was pretty good detective work there. So we'll see where that goes. I mean, listen, I'm still on the Kang the Conqueror thing. I still think we're going to get Jonathan Majors as a cameo. Maybe not full-on Kang, but I think we're going to get him in this episode. Still think that holding on to him being the other analyst because he has a relationship with Renslayer in the comics. So I'm still there on that. I'm not on the Steve Rogers is the other analyst thing that we discussed last week as a potential possibility. I think that might be a little bit too much. If it turned out to be true, I'd be happy about it. But I just don't think it's happening.
Yeah, it seems a bit outside the realm of possibility. I think the other analyst will be Mojo before it's Steve Rogers.
Or Mephisto.
Or Mephisto.
Because he's always in play, apparently.
Look, Mephisto is everywhere. The greatest trick Mephisto ever pulled was convincing the MCU he didn't exist.
I like that. What I also do like, and both of us like, is this is our movie, so we're gonna continue our way through the pre-MCU Marvel movies, and that brings us to 1998's Blade. Yes,
That's right, it
that's
does.
actually a pretty cool action figure.
Isn't that really awesome?
That's pretty cool. I like that.
It's one of my favorites.
I like that one. Starring Wesley Snipes, a film that honestly gets forgotten quite a bit.
Unfairly.
And it pisses me off because there's two things, by the way, that it was the first Marvel movie to do these things and completely gets shit on by a lot of fans. Number one, it was the first R-rated Marvel movie, not Deadpool. That's just not accurate at all, no matter which way you cut it. In the beginning opening credits, it says, based on Marvel Comics characters by, X, Y, and Z. The executive producers are Stan Lee and Avi Arad, who was the producer of every Marvel movie for such a long time, and especially during the 90s. So, and into the 2000s. You can't say you didn't know this was a Marvel movie. That's just you not doing your homework. And Blade is very much a Marvel character.
Yeah. And this is, look, without this movie, we don't have the MCU because this was the first commercially successful Marvel movie. I mean, again, guys, if you've been watching the show, you've seen what Marvel was putting out.
Yes.
Like, they were putting out direct to TV, direct to video, stuff that was never meant to be released, and then Howard the Duck, which, imagine trying to build a franchise on Howard the Duck. Blade legitimizes the Marvel sort of stake in the movie business, and it sets up for the more serious movies we're going to cover later that's pre-MCU, like Spider-Man and X-Men and all of that. So without Blade, I strongly believe there is no MCU.
No, it never gets there. I'm sorry. There's no way to cut it. And also another thing is, and part of the reason I decided to wear my Black Panther t-shirt today, which, no disrespect to Black Panther. We love Black Panther. We know its significance and everything. But Blade was the first African-American Marvel superhero. It's just a fact. I mean, it is what it is.
It is what it is, exactly. This was a Marvel movie. This was a Marvel property. And like every other Marvel property at the time, it wasn't done by Marvel. But yeah, he obviously, Wesley Snipes is black. He's the star of this movie. Therefore... Yes.
And he was advocating, by the way, to be T'Challa in a Black Panther movie for a long time.
I can see that.
It didn't happen, but he did Blade. It had its own trilogy. It had a spinoff with a TV show, which was on Spike TV at one point. It had one season where, ironically, Sticky Fingers ended up being Blade. I'm going to tell you the truth, though. Not a terrible series, though.
Okay.
Not a terrible series, but not great either. Maybe something we can find and cover. Maybe we can watch Blade, the series, and we can chat about that sometime.
Yeah, I would do that. Like, we got two more Blade movies to do at some point, so we can figure that in.
All right, so we'll just give some things we want to highlight to this that we want to talk about. The opening sequence, which seems to be like legendary, and the whole Rage Club. Which, by the way, this movie has Tracy Lords in it as a vampire in the beginning of the movie, luring some guy into a freaking club.
Yes, and let me tell you something. I told you off air that I had a hard time finding things I didn't like about this movie, but this is one thing. Why not give me more Tracy Lords? I love Tracy Lords.
Yeah,
like she was great in this. I thought she came back. I thought she wound up being part of Deacon Frost's gang, but she never does. She's only in this first scene. I'm like, that's a missed opportunity, man. Tracy Lords is a good actress, and then she's a good presence on screen.
Yeah, no, she crushes it in the scene that she's in because she goes in and lures this guy into a club because he's pretty much going to be food.
Yeah,
for a whole club full of vampires. And if you haven't seen the movie, they from the sprinkler system start spraying blood all over the place and everything. And then Blade shows up, and you can see everyone in there pretty much shits their pants.
Oh yeah, and his entrance is awesome because I think it's like the camera at his feet and then the pan up and like he's just like he gives his Wesley smile. He starts wrecking ass. He pulls his sword. What a kick-ass character, man. Like he DFA all the way. Don't fuck around,
Yeah, no, he was holy shit. He really is super badass through this whole movie. By the way, in that scene, there's not a drop of blood on Blade.
No,
which
there
I'm not
is
saying
not.
is a bad thing. I think that adds more to his badassness.
Yep.
That everything is covered in blood except Blade.
He is so imposing that even the blood is afraid to touch him.
Yes, that's what I wrote it off as, and I don't give a shit. I loved it.
And I love at the end of that, too, like he wrecks house, he kills a bunch of them, right? He cuts Grounded for Life's hand off, Donald Logue, right? I always think of it as the father from Grounded for Life. He cuts his hand off, with the arm off, which keeps coming back. It's actually a fun running joke. He torches him, right? But I love the moment where the guy that Tracy Lords brings in, like Blade's first thing, and the guy's like, "Oh, thank you." He just grabs him by the face, looks at his neck, sees he's not punctured. He's like, "Get the hell out of here!" Like, but I love because had he been bitten, he'd have killed him.
Oh, Blade would have killed him in 2 seconds.
Right.
He would have killed him in 2 seconds, man, because he does not hold any hostages of vampires in this movie.
No, including his mother, which we'll get to.
Oh yeah, no, that was some wild shit. I thought something that was, by the way, that kind of just struck me that I never thought of ever before this one time I watched the movie. There's a scene where Blade is interrogating a cop in broad daylight, and he's beating the piss out of him in front of his own cop. Are you trying to tell me nobody would have said anything about this? I thought it was kind of funny. Like I was like, wow.
Fair enough. That's a legitimate ding.
Yeah, but no, I'm not. That's not even a ding for me. That is me saying how badass Blade is.
That's right. Blade is so badass. Like, no. Well, everyone knows who he is. Like anyone related, even vampire adjacent. Even the cop who is like Deacon Frost's, like
that's the guy he's interrogating. Yeah.
Like they know who he is. He's like, shit, Blade's after me. Like, so maybe that's it. He says that they own the cops. The cops know who he is. They're not messing with him.
No, they're like, fuck this. That's Blade. No, thank you.
I love how they explain the lore, because you have to. It's a vampire movie.
Dude, you just took my notes right there. Go ahead, go for it.
Awesome. I'm glad that they did it. Like, use a crucifix. Crucifixes are bullshit. Some lore is good, some lore isn't. You want silver, you want to put a stake through their heart. Garlic gives them anaphylactic shock, and I was like, God damn, it does. Yes, that's why they can't do it. It's an allergy. I mean, it's like. Yep. They make such really interesting choices to try to ground this in a reality, like vampires that aren't in fantasy. And I think that I actually wrote down garlic gives them anaphylactic shock, ! Because I thought that was a brilliant explanation.
Yeah, I love the way that they lay down their own vampire rules, and most of it comes from Whistler, and that's fine. Yeah. But like, I love, and they stick to them. They really, like you said, they put it very grounded and very real as they can. And because at that time, that's when especially Marvel was trying to make sure that they ground as much of their movies as they can. And by the way, David S. Goyer did write this movie.
Oh.
Yes, he did. And which by the way, we didn't mention this last time, and I can't believe I didn't forgot to mention this. At least I don't think we did. He also wrote Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh.
And he also directs Blade Trinity, which we'll get to eventually, yes.
Yeah.
And he wrote and directed Blade Trilogy, and he wrote Batman Begins and The Dark Knight.
Well,
so,
you know what?
Whatever.
You know what? Look, hey, even God created the duck-billed platypus. You know what I mean? They can't all be winners, is what I'm saying.
And I'm pretty sure he also has a writing credit, if not a full writing credit, on Man of Steel as well.
Okay, so he's done good work. He's done bad work. That's fair. Yeah. I'll give it to him.
But man, the range from Nick Fury to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Nick Fury Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to like The Dark Knight.
That shocks the hell out of me. Like, yes. You could have said he wrote Howard the Duck and I wouldn't have been as shocked.
No.
Because Nick Fury Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was terribly written.
Yes. Yes. And so is Blade Trinity when we get to that. But I'm not going to bury the lead with that.
I don't remember Blade. I've seen it, of course, but I think it's one of those ones I've seen it once and I never went back.
Oh, well, we're going to be watching it again soon enough.
Well, that's right. I realized the other night that we have to watch Hulk. And yes. I was like, oh, no. Can I quit the show yet?
Yes, we are definitely watching Ang Lee's Hulk. God. Another thing I forgot, I actually kind of skipped my mind about this movie, was the scene with Pearl.
Oh, yeah.
Like this huge, I guess, dude or woman, or I get confused on what they were going for. But, vampire,
It's the Slug. I don't know if you guys, anyone's familiar with the Slug from Marvel Comics. He's a really, really obese crime boss who's on, like, literally, he's on like a moving couch with wheels or a moving chair with wheels. This is the Slug in vampire form.
That's a pretty good description right there. Yeah. So then, what other highlight? I mean, I'm gonna say that the ending. Like, by the way, I also love Stephen Dorff as Deacon Frost in this movie. He's over the top in all the right moments, and he plays a phenomenal asshole villain.
Agreed. And I really enjoy the subtext of what's going on, like in the vampire world, because the Council of Vampires are all purebred, born vampires, and the Udo Kier. I don't know, like, I love that Udo Kier's in this movie. Like, Udo Kier's like a 90s actor, a German actor who was in all this weird shit in the 90s. Like, he was in the movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger kills the devil and End of Days.
Yes, which I actually like.
I do too.
Yes.
So he's in a lot of these weird, like, sci-fi, fantasy comic book movies. But he says to Frost, like, no matter what you do, you'll never be a purebred. You're always just born a vampire. So I kind of like Deacon Frost is like you know what? I'm the grassroots, taking it to the streets, bringing the Vampire Council back to the vampires. Like, we're all, you guys are not the elite. I kind of really like that subtext of it. And when they kill Udo Kier, he has a phenomenal death scene.
Oh, yeah.
They all put like this protective gear on so they could be out there, and they bring him to the beach at sunrise.
Yeah, and they're all like motorcycle helmets and everything else, and they're all covered up, and he gets just lit up.
Ooh, it's a bad death.
Yeah, it is really fucked up. You haven't seen? Well, also I wanted to talk about. Let's see. So Wesley Snipes is obviously great as Blade.
Fantastic.
Chris Christopherson as Whistler.
Fantastic.
Their chemistry, their relationship is awesome. And let's talk about Chris Christopherson, by the way, filling up Blade's car with gas, spilling it all over the place, and then making sure he lights a cigarette right next to it. Just to show how badass he is. Oh, man.
Oh, I love Whistler. I love the origin. Like when he tells the story, found him when he was 13. He was feeding, thought he was a vampire, was going to kill him, realized what he was. Like, and then you realize Whistler raised this guy, and that's why Blade is the way he is, Yeah. Because again, this is kind of like Gambi and Black Lightning in the sense that we have, like, I've taken you in when no one else was there. I've taught you how to use your powers, but I've also made you into a weapon for my cause. Yes. And I think that's such a but they have such a great dynamic, and you never hate Whistler. It's the same thing with Gambi. You never hate it because it comes from a place of love, but there's zealots, and they're zealots in a war that they need to win. Vampires are terrible.
And there's a great line also because she acts as Blade. It's after when we find out that Whistler has cancer, and he's like, "Yeah, well, we have a great relationship. We have a great working relationship or something like that. He makes the weapons, and I use them."
Yep.
Yep. Badass. Super badass.
And Whistler's death scene, man. Whistler goes
out swinging, man.
Yes, he does.
He goes out swinging, and there's another scene, by the way, where Blade is there with the doctor that he rescues, like, throughout, with him throughout the movie.
Yeah, I forget her name too.
Yeah, they're about to go check out some, like, a vampire situation, and he says there's something line that's in it. I forgot to write it down where it's like, man, there's some bad things out there tonight. And oh no, there's worse things out there tonight. And then she's like what? And he's like, me. And I was like, man, you are the shit.
And I love, like, and you put this picture up on Facebook when you were promoting the show today, where he has that, like, that hand thrown thing, and he's got that smile. That's like, that is the perfect picture because that's Blade. Like, yeah, I'm smiling at you as I'm killing you.
Pretty much. He goes, hey, that thing like flips around and like wipes out a whole bunch of vampires in one shot.
I love when they take him prisoner. Before Whistler dies, they take him prisoner and they're roughing him up, and you think they're winning, and Grounded for Life is there, and he's gloating in his face, and then he's talking. He's like, "Who are you talking to?" And you see that earpiece, and Whistler just comes through the wall.
Yeah, and he's just like, "Oh, did I catch you fuckers at a bad time?" And he just starts like lighting them up.
It's so good. Like, it's such a good action movie. It's just like the cat, like everything works with. There's only one thing. I got one serious, legitimate ding for it.
Go with it.
That's it. And I think it's stupid that Deacon Frost can put on sunblock and walk in the sun. Because then at that point, the only thing that makes Daywalkers special is they don't have to buy sunblock. Like,
I guess, but he also doesn't last very long. It's the scene where he has the girl that's there, and he's talking to Blade and trying to put a truce.
And he throws her through a hot dog stand into the street in front of a bus. That poor girl is freaking jetted.
Yeah, and then she's like, no wonder why in front of the bus, she's like looking around like, what the hell is going on right now? And Blade sees that and runs and grabs her and saves her from getting ran over by a bus. Yeah,
which is, again, awesome scene. But yeah, that's my only ding. I just thought that, like, I buy that you're in motorcycle jackets, you spray the helmet. Like, look, I watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I've watched every episode. They take liberties. Spike at some point drives a car where he just kind of paints things black and has little slits coming out. Like, their whole thing is, as long as you're not in direct sunlight, you can be in the sun. So I can forgive a lot, but the whole I put the sunblock on seemed a bit too. It seemed to have broken the rules they had set up. But again, it's such a small aspect of the movie; it doesn't matter.
That's fair enough. So then the whole thing with Blade's mother I thought was pretty cool, and then there's the ending fight scene that gets wild where we finally get the Deacon Frost versus Blade. Right. I'll say that. The premise is there, but you're going to have to forgive the CGI because the CGI gets goofy because it's old.
It's old.
1998 movie, yeah.
And I'll tell you something. I remember the CGI not holding up, but it wasn't as bad as I remembered. For some reason, and maybe I saw director part because I've seen director's cuts of this. But I remember a scene where where Deacon Frost becomes all blood. And it looked terrible, but that's not in this. Right? He doesn't really become. No. So it's that's what I was remembering. It's like his hand becomes blood. It looks kind of cheap, but again, it's 1998. It's not that bad. I've seen worse.
For its time, I mean that part doesn't hold up, but we'll I can forgive that. But
right. And the whole plot that Deacon Frost wants to turn everyone into a vampire, and he's summoning the blood god. Actually, very Buffy the Vampire Slayer plot right there. Yes. I love that. Blade's mother tries to sort of seduce him into coming over that side, and he's not having it. And the best part of the ending scene for me is when he finally kills Donald Logue, and the sunglasses go up, and he goes,
yes,
mid battle. It's like, yep,
yes,
kiss.
Yeah, he's just so badass, man. The whole thing, him and Whistler, just man.
So good. I mean, I know that they've recast Blade, and I get it. Wesley Snipes is older now, and they want to change. But it's a mistake not to have him included. I wish he would. I wish they'd include him as Whistler. To be honest,
that's what I literally said that to Angie today. I said Wesley Snipes as Whistler would be fantastic.
Yeah, because he's a good actor. He could pull it off. The one-liners, the bravado, and I think Wesley Snipes needs to be part of the MCU. Again, he's great in this. This movie succeeds because of his a great part because of his charm and his presence and his ability to pull this off. You put a different actor in there, a lesser actor in there, this movie doesn't work as well.
No, now don't get me wrong. They got Mahershala Ali.
Oh no.
Yeah, so,
I'm not saying that they couldn't get a better one. I'm saying they need to include him in the MCU.
No, he needs to be in it.
Yeah, because. Without this movie, there is no MCU. And I really think that if they chose a lesser actor, this movie doesn't do what it does, and then we don't have the MCU. So that's why I feel like I love Mahershala. I'm excited to see him as Blade. I think he's going to do a great job because he's a phenomenal actor. Yeah. But I want them to give Wesley Snipes a little, something so he too can be part of the family.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% in sync with you on that. I'd love to see him involved in this on some levels. I know that while it was at one point there was conversations that he was having, there was reports of conversations he was talking to Kevin Feige and he was talking to Marvel about certain things. So I don't know if he's going to be involved with them for real or not, or however. Wesley Snipes was the one that was saying this. So
okay,
we'll see where he goes. Hopefully he's involved. And I even said it after watching this movie. I told Angie, I'm like, as much as I love Mahershala Ali, like I really like him, and I'm loving the fact that he's going to be Blade. It's going to take a minute for me to accept anyone else as Blade besides Wesley Snipes because, man, does he make this shit his own, man.
Absolutely. And you can tell, like, even the action figure I have, this is not a Wesley Snipes Blade. This isn't from the movie. This is like a Marvel Legends line. But you could tell, like with Sam Jackson and Nick Fury, like, you know, a lot of their character in the comics, a lot of their characterization is completely influenced by the Wesley Snipes portrayal in these movies. So I think that says a lot. When an actor completely causes the writers and the artists to redo a character in the comic and really make, you know, draws from the performances on screen, I think that says a lot about how good the person was in the role.
Yeah. To me, Wesley Snipes is in the same boat as like our Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man, Chris Evans is Captain America. You know, whoever you want to, I mean, who else can we go with there? Just irreplaceable people that it's hard to see anyone else in that role. I mean, we're going to see it, so maybe we'll feel differently after, because I'm sure when we were kids, we also said Michael Keaton is Batman and that's it. And then we have 50 Batman since then. So,
and I've accepted one of them.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. I've accepted Christian Bale and Ben Affleck, but listen, not a lot.
You know, I accept the Affleck. I told you my thing with that. It just seems like an Elseworlds thing, but he is great.
Yeah, Batfleck is the balls of the DCU. All right, so I guess that pretty much wraps it up for us this week. Thanks for joining us again from wherever it is. You should go ahead and, if you're on YouTube, subscribe to Pop Culture Pros. Hit the subscribe button. Check out our show. Check out all the other great shows that are on Pop Culture Pros. If you're on Facebook, go ahead and join our Granny's Peach Tea Facebook page. We'll also join the Pop Culture Pros Facebook page. You can check out A to Z, which is usually on Sundays with Eric. He covers a bunch of different topics. Empire, if you're a Yankees fan, Empire 161 is actually coming back this week. We're going to be on Sunday at 8 o'clock. It will be me, and we are having a brand new co-host who is going to be pinch hitting for Tim as well, is Lisa. Lisa Garcia will be my co-host on Empire 161, so we'll be talking some Yankees on Sunday night. Jason, you've come to see some. You've seen movies with Lisa. You know, she's awesome.
Yeah, very awesome.
So excited to get that going. If you're a wrestling fan, you can check out the Just Too Sweet show on Tuesday nights. Eric and Tim, they go ahead and they cover, you know, a bunch of different types of wrestling, current and past stuff. If you're a Mets fan, check out Put It in the Books. You got Faraci and the guys. They go ahead and they cover that. And Jada and Kyle, I'm not sure when they're on this week, but they're doing new movies now, which is exciting to see. I know they did a review of Fast 9 recently, so that's cool. As I know that dropped today. And what Alex is dropping in a comment I want to get to before, because we don't want to leave anyone hanging. What about the Snake Eyes trailer? Alex, rewind and check out the beginning of the show, because we opened up the show talking about after Baywatch Nights. About the Snake Eyes trailer.
Fast forward through the Baywatch Nights part, and then we started the real show with the Snake Eyes trailer.
Or if you really want to hear about Baywatch Nights, there's nothing wrong with that.
I think everyone should. I'm watching it. All right, I'm sacrificing for the Hoff and for you guys.
And much appreciated. So go ahead.
I'm excited because just to throw a little teaser out there, there's some talk in the works about a Just Too Sweet Granny's Peach Tea crossover. How's that going to work? Well, you're going to have to tune in and see when it happens.
That is a dynamite tease right there, Jason. I like that. Yeah, we've been talking about that, so we'll see what happens with there. All right, so we're gonna work. Jason and I are gonna work it out with Tony. We're gonna figure out when we're gonna be on next week, because this guy here is not available on Wednesday night or Friday night, which has been usually our landing spots. And 4th of July, not sure we want to do a show on a Sunday night for 4th of July, so we're trying to work it out. We'll make sure we share it out. We'll post it everywhere. Everyone will know in advance. We'll be talking about the next episode of Loki, which will be episode 4. We'll be talking about CW Verse as well. Who knows what crazy trailers will drop during the week.
What's our movie?
And movie, we were trying. I guess we got to work that out too, because do we go to Blade 2 or do we go to the original X-Men? Those I think, our two pathways that we can pick from. You can decide right now if you want.
All right, so Here's the question: you want to go chronological or by franchise? Because choosing Blade 2 means we have to watch Blade 3 after.
Yes. I do really love Blade 2. Actually, for a long time, my Blade 2 is one of my favorite Blade.
All right, so let's do Blade 2. Let's do the franchise. We'll do it by franchise.
Then that's it. That's what we're doing. When we get to the solo movies, then it can go all over the place because Hulk and Daredevil and that can be all over. But all right, so then there it is. We're gonna do Blade 2 next week, which was directed by Guillermo del Toro. Which, man, he really crushes it, but we'll save that for next week.
Well, I mean, he's a director with a capital D. You know what I mean?
Yes, he absolutely is. So, thanks for joining us. Have a safe weekend. Stay safe out there. Enjoy your week, and we'll talk to you soon. All right?
Excelsior!
Excelsior! Bye.